lovelies! Today I'm going to make a video about etiquette for attending meetups. In the past I have made a video about how to host a meetup. This is more like how to attend a meetup. So I'm going to go over different things that you should really avoid doing for the most part. So before any event, you want to make sure you always RSVP. Now sometimes this isn't going to be very important, but for most meetups, RSVPing is very, very important. Most meetups nowadays seem to be done through Facebook events, and so you can put yes, no, or maybe. And what a lot of people do is they put yes, no, or maybe, and then they never come back to update it when it's no longer accurate. So make sure that you go back and let people know when you decide what you're going to do. And also, if you are supposed to RSVP in any other way, like say they also want you to comment on a thread, sometimes they'll do this because people change their minds after putting yes, no, or maybe. Make sure you do that. Do read the event page carefully and check it for updates. Check it for updates preferably a few times, and definitely the day before you go, to make sure you know everything you need to know, and if anything's required of you, such as bringing a dish, buying a ticket, or just bringing money to the event, you'll know to do that. One thing you really shouldn't do is assume that you can bring a guest. Now, it usually won't be a problem for you to bring a guest, but for some meetups, the host really won't want guests there, or it won't be appropriate. Now, even if they are fine with people bringing a +1, in some instances I've seen people assume that it's okay for them to bring their husband, their friend, their child, and this random other friend, like multiple people at once. Usually, Lolitas won't like this, especially if you're new to the group. Do not do this. I wouldn't even ask. It's fine to ask to bring a +1, but if you're trying to bring a bunch of people, I would not even ask, because we do find it frustrating. But if you do want to bring a +1, I would go ahead and ask the host privately. And don't get upset if they say no, because they have their reasons. They're the ones hosting the event. If you don't like the way they host the event, you are welcome to go ahead and host your own event. And that's not to say, like in a snide way, like, go do your own, see if you can do it better. Like, really, you can host your own event. Everybody can have an event. We can all have our own events. It's more meetups, more fun. So don't get upset if they don't want you to bring a guest. And do keep in mind that a lot of people, when they come to a Lolita meetup and they're new to the group and they bring their boyfriend or friend for comfort, a lot of the times they won't talk to anybody else and they won't make any friends. They'll just sit there with their boyfriend or friend, and it's kind of like, why didn't you just go do something fun with them? Because you're not making any friends. So it might even be better for you to come alone. So don't get too disheartened. Now, if this applies to you, and if you can drive, consider carpooling to events. It might be extremely helpful for some people in your area who can't drive or are afraid of driving long distances if the meet is a ways away. And also it's good for the environment and all that. Usually when I go to a meetup that's an hour away, which many of them are around here for me, I usually do bring one or two of my friends in my car, even though sometimes they could drive. It's just better for us to go together. Sometimes it helps save parking too. If you can't drive and you actually can't come to an event without a ride, make sure you don't repeatedly ask for a ride. I actually, as the admin of my local community, I get a lot of complaints about people who ask for a ride multiple times. Some people will ask 2 or 3 times, can I get a ride? Is anyone in this area who can give me a ride? Can I get a ride? People do see it the first time you post it. I promise you they do. And often, sometimes they won't respond until maybe a week later when they're really getting their plans together to come. But people do see your post, and people do get frustrated if you post more than once and it really doesn't help you find a ride. So don't do that. Now, when you are at the event, Lolita are notorious for being late. So in most cases, it won't be bad if you're a little bit late. It kind of pains me to say that because I wish we didn't have this problem. But if you are having a meetup at a restaurant for dinner or anything that it would be appropriate to be on time to, then do be on time. Don't just say, hey, everybody's late all the time, so I can be late when we're having dinner. No, you kind of have to be there when everyone else is there to order your food because that's easier for the wait staff. Something that is common sense to a lot of people, but a lot of people do have problems with, maybe they come from a different culture or they're used to the kind of anime huggy culture. Do not touch people without their permission. Do not touch their things without your permission. It might cause some people to have anxiety issues, and also some people just don't like it. A lot of people just don't like it. It is 100% okay to ask someone if it's okay to check out their dress or give them a hug, but do ask. I have heard complaints in our community about people grabbing people's stuff without their permission or just coming up and like touching them and they've never met this person. It freaks them out. I have heard complaints about people turning around and somebody's like grabbing at their purse with red frosting all over their hands, and just be considerate. Don't touch people without their permission, and it is okay to ask though. Like, just go ahead and ask, like, hey, can I check out your skirt? Can I give you a hug? Anything like that. Or, of course, if you've known this person and you already know they're okay with it, go for it. But when you're meeting new people, you do want to be extra considerate. On the note of being considerate, you not only need to be considerate to your fellow Lolita, you should also really be considerate to anyone around you if you're in a public place. Now, if you're in a public place, you really are setting an example for all Lolita when you are interacting with people wearing Lolita, but especially when you're in a big group and people are like, what's going on? What's that? So if you are being rude to people and they're seeing this group of Lolita being loud and obnoxious or cussing in front of children or being rude to wait staff, that's going to reflect poorly on all of us. So I think I speak for a lot of us when I say it would be much appreciated if you could just be polite and have manners. Now, you don't have to change your whole personality because you're dressed in Lolita. I'm not saying anything like that. Just have common courtesy, be nice, be good. On that note, if you are going to a restaurant or anywhere where it is considered appropriate to tip, do tip. One time I didn't go to a meetup, and then everyone who did go to the meetup was complaining about this girl who had said, oh, well, maybe I'm not going to tip because I'm broke. Even if you don't say it, even if you're quiet about it, we might notice. Even if we don't notice, it's still not okay to not tip. In or out of Lolita, you need to tip people. They are living off of those tips. They need them to eat food so that they can live. It's not fair to not tip people who are helping you and they are doing a tip job. You need to do that. It doesn't matter if you are broke, if the service is poor, okay, leave a lesser tip, but still tip something. It goes back to reflecting poorly on the Lolitas too. Even if the other Lolitas don't notice and talk bad about you, the waiter still does, the waitress notices. They are going to remember that, especially with how we're dressed. And say if another Lolita comes back to that restaurant another day because they really liked it, even if they weren't the person who didn't tip or didn't tip well, they might get horrible customer service. Now, I have been to restaurants with people and they didn't tip or didn't tip well, and I still tipped. And then I went back later and I got the same waiter and they were horrible because they remember that. They are not stupid. They're not working as a waiter because they're stupid. Some of these people have college degrees. It's just the way it is. People need jobs, and you need to be polite to people who are working jobs trying to help you. And also be polite to your fellow Lolita. Sorry, I'm getting a little annoyed on that note, but please tip people. So, if you see a Lolita who is feeling left out, they might be new, they're not really talking to people, not really meeting anybody, go ahead and talk to them. Say, hey, what's up, how are you doing today? Start some small chat, see if you can get them involved. They might just be new or nervous or having a hard time. They might just be quiet and they might be a wallflower and they're still actually having fun, but it's good to try to include people. On this note, if you are one of these people and you aren't feeling included and you are feeling like an outsider and you're not sure what to do, don't get annoyed. You really can't expect Lolitas to all be instantly your best friend just because you share one interest with them. Just go ahead and go try to make small chat with them and try to talk to them and try giving compliments. Everybody likes compliments. And it's really not very hard to make friends at a Lolita meetup usually, at least not the ones I've been to. So try to get involved if you're feeling like an outsider, but just keep in mind, don't get frustrated or angry. Everyone can't immediately be your friend. Now, this is another thing that to many people it might be common sense, but other people might have a little bit of an issue with it. You want to make sure that you have really good hygiene before going to a Lolita event. Make sure your hair is clean and brushed. Make sure your teeth are brushed. Make sure you're wearing deodorant, especially if it's the summer. Make sure you look and smell clean. Now, kind of on that note, for wearing perfume, make sure you don't wear a lot of perfume or a really heavy perfume because it can cause some people to have mild allergic reactions. It can give people headaches, and people just generally don't like it. Some people won't notice that they do this with their perfume, so just be careful and make sure you're applying it correctly. If you have a spray perfume, spray it in the air in front of you and then walk through it. One spray is fine. Don't be spraying it all over yourself. If you have an oil or a roll-on perfume, put a drop on your wrist, rub your wrists together, and that's it. One drop. That's all you need. A perfume that's really good is, one time I had some rose fragrance oil, and it was just pure rose fragrance oil. You just one drop, and you smell like roses. So that's all I really have to say. I'm guessing if you watch this video, it's because you haven't been to a Lolita meetup yet, or maybe you've been to one or two and you feel like you're not really fitting in and making friends yet. And so I hope you learned something, or that I was able to alleviate some of your fears. Maybe you're like, good, I'm not doing anything wrong. So I hope I was able to help. And when you go to a meetup, please remember that it is about having fun. So don't stress. If you're stressing too much, meetups might not even be for you because it's really about having fun. You don't have to go to meetups to be a Lolita, though I really do recommend it because I make so many good friends there. So I hope you have fun at your future meetups. And bye-bye. So bonus time about that rose oil I was talking about. I didn't even plan to bring that up. But rose oil, really good. One time I accidentally spilled this rose oil on my hamster, and it was literally only a few drops left in there, and I accidentally spilled it on my hamster. I swear I didn't do it on purpose. My poor hamster smelled like roses for more than 2 weeks. So that's one that's not really overpowering, but gosh, does it stick! If you want to smell like roses all the time, go for that.